let's forget the endless list of productivity hacks for a minute. Today, we're doing something different. We're actually going to build a complete playbook to help you master your focus and your time. It's really about a smarter way to think about getting things done. You know that feeling, don't you? Your day is just packed. You're constantly moving, you're answering emails, you're jumping between a million tasks. But at the end of it all, you just collapse and think, what did I actually get done today? It's like you're on a treadmill of activity, but you're not making any real progress. And that's the big idea right here. The real solution isn't going to be some new clever trick you saw online. It's about stopping that random collection of tips and starting to build a solid, personalized system that actually works for you, day in and day out. So here's our game plan for building that playbook. First, we're going to lay the foundation and master the right mindset. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of conquering your calendar and taming your tech. After that, we'll talk about fueling your focus, super important. And finally, we'll give you one simple first step to get you started.
First up, and honestly, this is the bedrock for the entire playbook, is your mindset. See, before you can worry about being efficient, you have to be effective. This is all about the strategy behind deciding what's actually worth your time in the first place. And that brings us to maybe the single most important question you can ask yourself at any given moment. It's so easy to get obsessed with doing things right, but all the real power comes from making sure you're doing the right things. So how do you find those right things? Well, there's a super powerful tool for this called the 80-20 rule, or the Pareto principle. It's a really simple but profound idea. A tiny portion of what you do is likely driving the huge majority of your results.
Just think about that for a second. 80% of your success, your progress, your impact, it's all coming from just 20% of the stuff on your to-do list. The secret isn't to do more. It's to figure out what that critical 20% is and just get obsessed with it. So what is it for you? And once you've figured out your high-impact priorities using that 80-20 rule, the next step isn't just to write them down. You have to give them a real home on your calendar. You've got to shift from just prioritizing what's already on your schedule to actively scheduling your priorities. A fantastic tool for this is the Eisenhower Matrix. It's an incredibly powerful way to cut through all the noise on your to-do list. It helps you make these really clear, quick decisions about what truly deserves your attention.
Okay, so let's break it down. If something is both important and urgent, think crises, deadlines, you do it first, no question. Now, if it's important but not urgent, this is the magic quadrant, things like long-term planning or building relationships, you schedule it. This is where the real growth happens. If it's urgent but not important, like a lot of interruptions, you delegate it. And finally, if it's neither urgent nor important, you just delete it. Poof, get it off your list. All right, so now we have our strategy for what to work on. Let's get into the tactics for how you actually get it all done. How do you structure your day to make sure you protect those priorities we just identified? This part of the playbook is all about your calendar. You know, we love to think we can multitask, but here's the truth. Our brains can't. They're just switching back and forth really, really fast, and we lose a ton of time and focus with every single switch. A much smarter way to work is called task batching. You group similar things together, like answer all your emails at once or make all your calls in one block. This way, you stay in one mental zone and you're just way more efficient. And a great way to structure those batches is the Pomodoro technique. It's so simple. You pick one thing to work on, you set a timer for 25 minutes, and you just go. Total focus, no interruptions. When the timer dings, you take a 5-minute break. Get up, stretch, whatever. After you do 4 of those sessions, you take a nice longer break. It's an amazing way to train your brain for deep focus without burning yourself out. Okay, so we've covered strategy and tactics. But none of that really matters if your environment is actively working against you, right? So let's talk about taming the very technology that is constantly fighting for our attention. So with that in mind, just think for a second. In our world today, what is the one thing that just constantly shatters our focus and pulls us out of that productive flow state? Yep, that's it. That little red dot, that buzz in your pocket, that little ping from your computer. Every single notification is a tiny interruption that forces your brain to switch contexts, completely derailing your train of thought and costing you precious mental energy. So what do? You fight back. Be ruthless about it. Turn off every single notification that isn't absolutely critical to your job. Instead of reacting to email all day, schedule 2 or 3 specific times to process it. When it's time for deep work, use a distraction blocker app. And hey, if you can, a second monitor can be a game changer for organizing your digital space so you're not constantly switching windows. It's all about taking back control. And that brings us to our final, and maybe the most overlooked part of the system. You can have the best strategy in the world and the perfect distraction-free environment, but if you're running on empty, none of it is going to matter. This is about managing your energy. Here's a crucial mindset shift. You are not a machine. You can't just run at 100% all day long. We're biological creatures. We have natural rhythms of energy. Real long-term productivity comes from working with those rhythms, not fighting against them. And look at this. If you try to just power through without taking any breaks, your performance just tanks over time. But when you strategically plan your rest, like those little 5-minute Pomodoro breaks, your overall productivity stays way, way higher throughout the day. Breaks aren't a weakness. They are a strategic weapon for high performance. So what's in your energy toolkit? Well, a short power nap, just 10 to 30 minutes, can do wonders. You gotta move your body. A standing desk is great for this. Having a solid morning routine really cuts down on decision fatigue and just starts your day off right. And never underestimate the power of noise-canceling headphones to create your own little bubble of focus. Okay, we've talked mindset, calendars, tech, and energy. We've basically built the entire playbook, but a playbook is pretty useless if you don't actually run a play, right? So let's talk about the most important part of all, your very first step. Just remember, the goal here is not to implement all of this stuff tomorrow. That's just a recipe for overwhelm. The key is to see yourself as the architect of your own productivity system, and you build it slowly, brick by brick, one small, consistent habit at a time. So to wrap this up, I have a challenge for you. It's based on something called the 2-minute rule. I want you to look at your to-do list right now and find one thing, anything, that you can finish in less than 2 minutes. And instead of just thinking about it, I want you to actually pause this, get up, and go do it right now. That's it. That's your first play. That's how you start building momentum.